me a Marantz 1200 integrated amplifier, and this is my initial test process. I do this on every single unit I get. It's just sort of a quick once over to see what the condition of the unit is. Here I'm at the lab bench, and I've got my two most important pieces of test gear for this type of work. I've got my PowerStat 116B Variac, and I've got my Simpson 390, let's see if we can make it so you can see it, 390-2 watt meter. These are vintage items. They're perfect for this kind of work. The Variac lets you bring the power up slowly on a piece of equipment that you don't have any history with, and you can use the watt meter to see what kind of current draw you have from the amplifier. You know right away if you're going to be in trouble. You know, if you start ramping up the voltage and you get up near 50-60 volts and all of a sudden it's drawing, 150 watts, you know you got a problem, and you can shut it down before you blow something up. Let's get the 1200 over here and let's take a look at what it looks like. We'll move these out of the way, and here she is. It's a nice unit. I'll take it off the cardboard here. It's in nice shape. A little bit hard to see. It's got a really nice faceplate. No nicks, no gouges, no real problems. Of course, it doesn't have any feet. Seems like every unit I get doesn't have any feet. We'll take a quick look here. It looks like it's serial number 4160, so it's a fairly early one. Put this down where you can actually see it. It's all intact in the back. One of the speaker clips is a little bent, but that's an easy fix. It's also got a broken fuse holder, not hard to fix at all. The first thing to do is, of course, check the fuse, because most of the time units come in, when I get them, it's got either no fuse or it's got the wrong fuse, and you certainly don't want to fire this thing up and have too big of a fuse in it. If there's a problem, it won't blow and you've got no protection. This is the fuse. I hope you can see it. Pull this out. Let's take a look what it says. It's a bus AGC 4 amp fast flow fuse. So let's make sure that it's right. It says here it's supposed to be a 6 amp. This is something everybody should have. I bought these a while ago. So here we have the correct fuse. This is a bus 6 amp 250 volt. I think it's an AGC. It's the right fuse for the job. Put it in. Goes in the holder. I know it's a little hard to see. Tip it up here. Threads in. I don't think the broken Bakelite housing on the fuse holder is going to be a problem. We'll find out in a few minutes. Alright, fuse is in. Now let's get this turned around and see if we can get our setup going here. Alright, put the Variac in position. So this is how this is set up. You've got the watt meter. Here's the watt meter. It's got different adjustments based on, or different readings based on how you plug the cord in. I've got it in the got power in on the black, and then we're on the 300 watt scale with the red and the white. So this has a special plug on the end of it. This end you plug in your electrical outlet, or socket is what you plug your device into. You can plug the amplifier directly into it, but we're going to use the Variac, so we're going to plug the Variac into there. So this is a PowerStat. It's a model 116B. It's a 10 amp. Has a single outlet here. On-off switch. Variable 0 to 140 volts. To be honest with you, I've never taken it that high, never gone past 120, don't really see the need. So what is this for? Well, it raises the AC voltage to whatever's plugged into the socket in a slow and controlled manner. In combination with the watt meter, you're able to watch the current draw on the watt meter as you raise the voltage up. Like I said before, You know, if you get 60, 70 volts and your watt meter shows your device is drawing 150, 200 watts, you got a problem. Most amplifiers like this 1200, idling current, it's usually somewhere around 25, 30 watts. So it's easy to tell if you have a problem. So here's the setup. I've got the Variac here. It's off and it's set to 0 volts. I've got the watt meter here. It's all plugged in at the wall outlet, so it shows that we have about 120 volts AC on standby. And I've got the Marantz 1200, which is kind of hard to see here, plugged into the socket on the Variac. What we're looking for is the right amount of current draw on the watt meter as we raise the voltage. The relay, the speaker protection relay on the 1200 should engage around 70 volts or so. What you have to do is power on the Marantz. Button's kind of gummy, but it does stick in. Okay, so what you want to do is on the watt meter, press the button that says watts, and the needle goes to 0 because right now we're not drawing anything. We'll flip the Variac on. Don't expect a lot at this point because the needle on the watt meter jumps just a tad because the Variac is drawing a little bit of current itself, but we're at 0 volts. So here's what you do. You very slowly raise the voltage on the Variac as you watch the watt meter. So far we're up to about 40 volts, 50 volts, 60 volts, 70 volts. The needle is rising just a little. We're at 80. We're at 90. We're at 100, and we've got almost no draw on the watt meter at all. So we have a problem. I would say, since the light's not on, the pilot light's not on the Marantz, it could be a fuse problem. Let's turn this off. Take a look. So the problem was that the broken fuse holder is kind of wanky. So I took the side of the integrated amp off to get access to it. I was able to push the tab that hits the threads for the neutral side of the power in place and then get the cap screwed in. So I think we're good to go now. So let's try again. So we've got power button on. I know you can't see it, but it is. Watt button pressed on the watt meter on the Simpson. Power switch on the Variac on. And we show almost 0 watts on the meter. Now we're going to slowly raise up the Variac voltage. We've got 10, 20, 30, and we've got a little bit of a glow on the pilot lamp and the Marantz. 40, 50, 60, 70. Pilot light's brighter. No relay lit. You can't hear it, but I can. Relay's just trying to barely energize. I'll go up to 80. It's struggling. We're up to 90. Right now at 90 volts, 100 volts. And relay clicks over. Go up to 110. Up to 120, which is the recommended voltage in the service manual. And the watt meter shows, I don't know if you can see that very well or not, but the watt meter shows that the unit is drawing about 40 watts. And that includes a little bit for the Variac, which is very good. I was watching it as I raised the voltage up on the Variac. If it was going to get anywhere over 50, 60 watts, I was going to shut it down because I don't want to burn anything up. So, initial test. No major problems, probably no shorted outputs, nothing like that. The problem with these units, because of their age, is the relays energize really slowly because the components on the relay rectifier board and on the power supply board, which is mostly for the preamp, part of the integrated amp, they're old, tired, worn out, need to be so. Next step. First we're going to power it back on. We're going to do the same procedure we did before. I'm kind of fussy about this. unit that I just got in or what I'm working on all the time, it's on the variac all the time with the watt meter. I'm always looking, I'm always checking. I don't want problems. I want to catch them before they happen. We'll be a little faster, crank it up to 120. Relay slowly engages. Watt reading is just about exactly 45 watts. Perfect for this unit. Okay, next thing to check, DC offset. Everybody gets worked up over DC offset. It's important. It's not nearly as critical as everyone makes it out to be. As long as you're within the specifications in the manual, you're fine. Everybody would like their system to be at 0, but it doesn't always work. So, test probes. Right channel first, red and positive, black and negative. I've got my fluke meter. It's an 8050A. It's an old bench meter, but it was top of the line when it was new. I'm on DC millivolt, 200 millivolt range. Right now we're reading, now switch it on to system 1, and we've got plus 153 millivolts. Little high for my speakers. So we're going to adjust it down and see what we can get it down to, see if it's stable or not. Now, I'm lucky because I've worked on this model before, so I don't have to look in the manual. I should be able to turn it down. Getting the screwdriver in is always a little tricky on these because it's not a very big space and it's kind of sideways, but we should be able to do something here. The other thing you'll find on these sometimes is, there we go, we're down to 40 millivolts, 33, 21, 17, down we go, 5, 3, 0. See if I can get the screwdriver out. Okay, so we've got it down to minus 0.03-ish. Now that we have the right side offset adjusted, let's get ready and move on to do the left side. So the first thing I'm going to do is take the probes out, move them over to the other terminals, and wait, I see something. We've got a little whiff of smoke here. There was a kind of a burning smell, and so let's take a look and see what's going on here. I'm going to ramp the voltage down in the variac and shut this off, and let's take a look and see what's going on. It looks like it's coming from a resistor on the relay board, and I know that that resistor is in the circuit for the pilot lamp, and it's not uncommon to have the wrong lamp in these units. So let's take the lamp out, let's get our probes, and move on to the left channel. And this side actually looks pretty good. We're reading about plus 12 millivolts. Thing to be aware of on the model 1200, it has both preamp out and main amp in jacks, so they need to be jumpered. These are just standard inexpensive RCA audio cables, so jumper across right and left, and we should be good to go. Now that we've got our patch cables in, we'll go ahead and hook up some speakers. So I'm going to use an old pair of Infinity quad speaker. They're just good for initial testing. So we'll get our speaker wires connected up, and we're getting close to see if we get any sound out of this amplifier or not. And we're all set to go. So we'll get ready to power it on. And what do we hear? Not a lot of anything. All I'm getting out of one channel is a little bit of motor boating. I think that's the right channel. The left channel, not getting anything out of it at all. So obviously this amp is sick, and it's going to need some further investigation to see what's up with it.